Story snippet from the Shady Car Dealer. So I set up a time to see the Firebird the next day at 10 a.m. So I get out there the next day, and this place just looks like an absolute junk heap. If there wasn't vehicles in the parking lot, you'd think this little car dealership was abandoned for the past 30 years. The parking lot is more like a pothole with weeds, and the 15 to 20 vehicles that are in the parking lot, it looks like somebody just parked them and placed them wearing a blindfold. Now, as I'm looking around this scrap heap, I don't see the Firebird. Now, as I'm walking around this automotive apocalypse, I hear, "Hey, what car are you going to be driving home with today?" Now, I look at the dealer building, and coming out of this one-hinge screen door is the car salesman, with messy bird's nest hair, a gritty sandpaper beard, and my goodness, some kind of homemade sports coat that he made, cutting up a couch from the 1970s, and the jacket has so many wrinkles you'd think the guy was using it as a windsock. Now, I'm tempted just to get back in my car and leave, but the vehicles in the parking lot are arranged in this incomprehensible, unsolvable jigsaw puzzle mess. I mean, there's a pickup truck parked in front of some glass doors like a barricade, and there's a minivan just parked in the middle of the parking lot. "Let's get you in this Monte Carlo for a test drive so you can take it home." And he walks over to this white Monte Carlo and opens up the driver's door. And I gotta tell the guy, I'm here about the Firebird. Story snippet from My Furry Rival. In my elementary school cafeteria, I'm sitting at the end seat of a lunchroom table, opening up my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lunchbox to grab a Ziploc baggied peanut butter and jelly sandwich. When I close the lunchbox lid, I notice in front of the cafeteria is my arch nemesis, that prehistoric beast-sized white fluffy dog. How did a dog get into the school and find me? Well, as the dog stares in my direction, I decided to stick my head inside my lunchbox, hoping the dog would vanish. As I slowly peer over the lunchbox lid, I see the dog now making eye contact with me. All I gotta do, stay calm, avoid eye contact, don't scream, don't run. I panic, throw my lunch into the air, the sandwich, the apple, the juice thermos goes flying upwards. I look the dog in the eyes that now has its tongue hanging out of its mouth like a greasy strip of bacon and go, "Ah!" So loud the whole cafeteria goes silent as I stand up and start to run as the dog starts to chase me. Story snippet from the Unprepared Audiologist. So the audiologist takes me to the room for the hearing test. Inside the room to the left, there's a little tiny table that you could fit about a checkerboard that has an audio testing equipment. In front of me is a countertop with a large coffee cappuccino espresso maker. And then there's 2 metal folding chairs. That's it. Where's the soundproof booth?
"Take a seat so we can begin the hearing test. Well, the booth doesn't arrive for another 2 weeks.
Then why don't I just come back in 2 weeks? I can't take this hearing test.
Oh, trust me. Please just take a seat. Let's get started."
Now, I wouldn't even call this a room. I wouldn't even call this a broom closet. In fact, this room would be too small for a doghouse for a teacup poodle. So we have to play human Tetris as we can figure out a way for him to sit by his little tiny minuscule dollhouse furniture desk with the audio testing equipment, and then I'll sit in the other chair with the headphones so he can conduct the hearing test. Story snippet from Can Bob Drive? As we're going up the road, I hear brr, 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 of cars going past us. Through the honks, I notice that there's one driver who has their window down, and he's yelling, "Hey, hey, hey, hey!" And I look, and he's pointing at us frantically. And I notice this driver is on the other side of the highway barrier. Well, that seems odd. Now, as other vehicles continue to drive past, thinking something seems odd, so I look to the left, out the car window. I don't see any vehicles. I turn my head around and look out the rear windshield. I don't see any vehicles. I look ahead through the windshield, and I don't see any vehicles. As I look up a slight hill, I see a red light with headlights facing our direction. "Bob, you're driving down the wrong side of the road!" Story snippet from Football Fanatics take over my elementary school. So I get to my own classroom, which normally looks drab and dreary like some cobweb-infested dust hole. But today, the classroom was brightly colored with team colors. Ooh. And the teacher used the entire year's worth of chalk supply to draw the team logo over 85% of the chalkboard. Once everyone sits down, we all wait in silence for the principal's morning announcement through the PA system. That announcement could cure insomnia, because it goes something like this.
Hello, students. The building's about 155 degrees, and I'm about as exciting as watching moths form a cocoon.
That's the typical principal spiel, but today, oh, kids, it's a great Super Bowl weekend. Our lives will finally have meaning once again when we return to the glorious promised land. Wait a second, since when did the principal become master radio DJ? Story snippet from Before the Snowstorm. I'm walking back to the doors to leave Lowe's because I'm thinking this is insane, people's obsession with snowblowers and shovels, and then I see a sight that I can't forget. Lowe's has carts that lets people move drywall, plywood, lumber, but today, people are throwing on bags and bags of salt. It looks like people are pushing pyramid blocks through the store of salt. There's so much salt packed up and stacked up on these little tiny carts. Lowe's must have one of those big rig truck scales that weighs freight containers, because people are buying salt by the ton. Now, I know ski resorts have those snow machines that throw snow, so I'm looking around the Lowe's to see where is the salt throwing machine. The Saltolator 5000 titanium snow killer, which can throw 1 pound of salt 70 feet every 3 seconds. I'm just trying to go through the double glass doors to get outside, and you have the snow doomsayers handing out snow pamphlets on the end of the world. Do you have your snowblower? Are you ready? How many shovels do you have? Do you have enough salt? Are you prepared for the big snowstorm? Then there's the hysterics.
This is gonna be the big storm that takes us over 50 feet this weekend. We'll never be able to leave our homes again.
The snowstorm is coming. It will blot out the sun, and the earth will be covered in white death.